Hey everyone, it's Alex here. I've been getting a lot of messages from people who feel stuck between I need a new PC for my games and work and I don't want to overpay for something that just sits there gathering dust. Today I'm going to walk through a pre-built gaming desktop that's been popping up a lot in the forums, the MLOONG gaming PC with a Ryzen 5 5500 and an RTX 3050. I'm not going to throw a list of specs at you right off the bat. Instead, I want to dig into how this machine actually behaves when you take it out of the box, what kind of day-to-day experience you can expect, and where the value really sits. If you want to check the product details on Amazon, the link is in the description. First, let's talk about the kind of person who usually ends up buying a pre-built like this. You're either a student or a young professional who wants solid 1080p gaming without spending the time or money to piece together a custom rig. Maybe you've been using an older laptop for both work and a few casual games, and you're noticing long load times, choppy frames, and that dreaded out-of-memory message when you try to stream or run multiple apps. You want something that just works, with Windows 11 already installed, and you don't want to mess with BIOS settings or driver installations. If that sounds like you, keep listening. Now, the flip side, who should probably walk away. If you're chasing ultra-high refresh 1440p or 4K gaming, or you need a workstation that can handle heavy 3D rendering or large-scale video editing, the RTX 3050 and the Ryzen 5 5500 will start to feel cramped. The same goes for anyone who already has a decent mid-range desktop and is looking to upgrade just a single component. In those cases, you're likely better off investing directly in a higher-tier GPU or a more powerful CPU and building a system that matches your exact performance goals. Let's open the box. The packaging is sleek and minimal, a matte black box with the usual ready-to-play branding. Inside, you find the desktop itself, a power cord, a quick start guide, and a couple of accessories like a keyboard and mouse. The machine is a compact, black tower, about the size of a typical mid-tower but a little narrower. The exterior feels solid, and the case has a subtle ventilation grill that hints at where the cooling will happen. You'll notice a few empty slots on the rear panel, a clear nod to upgradability, which means you could add another SSD or a larger GPU later without too much hassle. Plug it in, hit the power button, and you're greeted by Windows 11's welcome screen in under 10 seconds. That speed is one of the first practical strengths I saw. The 1TB NVMe SSD really does make a difference. Games install in a fraction of the time you'd expect on a traditional HDD, and the system boots from a cold start in around 15 seconds. For everyday use, say you're opening a browser, pulling up a spreadsheet, and launching Discord while a game is running in the background, the multitasking feels smooth. The 16 GB of DDR4 RAM is sufficient for most modern titles at 1080p, and it also helps keep those non-gaming applications responsive. When it comes to actual gaming performance, the RTX 3050 paired with the Ryzen 5 5500 lives up to its high-performance 1080p claim in most mainstream titles. In titles like Fortnite, Valorant, and Apex Legends, you can comfortably sit at 108 to 144 frames per second on high settings, which is perfect for a 144Hz monitor. In more demanding games like Cyberpunk 2077 or Red Dead Redemption 2, you'll see the frame rate dip into the 60 to 70 frames per second range on medium settings. That's still playable, but you'll need to tweak settings if you want a consistently high refresh experience. The presence of a 6 GB RAM GPU also means you can comfortably use texture packs that are a step above the defaults, though you'll eventually bump into the memory ceiling if you try to push ultra settings in the most graphically intensive games. One practical weakness that cropped up during testing is the thermal performance under sustained load. The CPU and GPU share the same modest cooling solution, and while temperatures stay within safe limits during short gaming sessions, a marathon session of 2 to 3 hours at max load can push the CPU to around 85 C and the GPU to the high 70s. The fan profile is a bit aggressive, leading to an audible whine that some users may find distracting. If you're planning on running long gaming marathons or streaming for hours, you might want to consider an aftermarket cooler or at least keep the case well ventilated. Another point worth mentioning is the power supply. It's a 650W unit with an 80+ rating, which is sufficient for the current configuration. However, should you decide to upgrade to a higher-tier GPU later, say an RTX 3060 Ti or an RTX 3070, you'll be flirting with the PSU's headroom. It won't outright prevent an upgrade, but you'll need to budget for a new power supply if you want to stay on the safe side. That's where